So I take it we're talking turkey today.
We're talking turkey today. We've got 4 different SCHEELS experts with us who's going to give us some turkey calling tips and a couple of their favorite stories. Charlie, thank you for joining us today to our podcast. We're calling it Turkey Speed Dating. So we've got a group of experts here. Basically come in, give us a good turkey call, and tell us your favorite turkey hunting story. So we're just going to have fun today.
I like that. I'll start. The call that I use the most is a cluck to a yelp, and I use a Woodhaven slate call is what I use. So I can give you just a little example of that. It's in this room might sound a little different than outside, but here we go. Then you can throw a little purr in there every once in a while.
Oh man,
You can't hear it.
I think it's not quite picking it up. I don't know if it's like audio levels
Can't hear
or
it?
what.
No,
all I hear is you like scratching.
Really?
it was like with me when I learned how to do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Super
No, I'm just
unfortunate.
kidding.
Well, that's not good. I wish I had a microphone. I don't.
Okay.
But you can't. I wonder where it would be sounding best.
Can
can't hear it though, huh?
Can you maybe like back up a long ways away?
Still?
Yeah.
I bet it's a frequency deal. Okay.
So you can hear me.
Here.
You can hear me, but you can't.
I can hear you
Mike,
talking.
you try this one. Show him
totally.
this one and see if he can hear it.
All right. See if you pick it up on
That's
it.
awesome.
Can you hear it?
I mean, I
you hear
can
that?
hear that.
Oh,
Well, that's unfair. So you know what we'll do? We're going to insert a piece. We're going to have you record it offline,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
you can do it. So
Yeah.
you need to redo that.
we're going to just pretend you're going through the sequence exactly like we're actually recording it.
And we will be very impressed.
And we can't see your call, so we don't see your movements. So we'll just overlay the audio right onto it.
Yeah. So, Mike, my favorite call is going from a cluck to a yelp. You can kind of give you a good example here. You can even throw a little purr in there if you want to, too. That's my favorite sequence. I've killed a lot of birds using that sequence, so I do enjoy that one. It works.
Yeah, absolutely. Get that little purr in there to seal the deal.
Yeah, love it's to me it's my favorite calls to use as a slate call for that reason. I just love those sounds you can make with them.
Mm-hmm. Do you carry like all the different kinds of calls, like the mouth call and the box and all that?
Yeah, we do. We carry mouth calls, the box calls, and they all kind of serve their own purpose. I always finish with a mouth call, so this is always what I start with is a slate if I know that there's a bird in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I finish with a mouth call because then I'm hands free, right? I don't need to worry about where my hands are. I got them on the shotgun. I'm ready to go once that bird comes in and I want to close the deal. But for me, the essentials when you talk about a turkey hunt are a locator call to make sure you can locate them and find where they're at, which to me is some of the most fun part of a turkey hunt. Is where are they, right? You can scout them and you can find them that way, but where are they? And if you got a good locator call, you can usually pick up where they're at. And then once you know where they're at, you make a game plan. You get in there, use a slate call, when they come off the roost, and hopefully they're coming in and you can get that mouth read to work and finish them on the way to the decoy.
Yep. There's nothing better than hearing that very first gobble after the locator call. Or except the only better thing is when you hear like 3 or 4 or 5 of them, really angry.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah. There's, if you want to talk about stories, I got to bring my son out for his first turkey hunt last spring. And I tell you what, and I had my stepson was with me too. They're about the same age, but to see their eyes when that first turkey lit up, it's like, to me, that's the most fun part of turkey hunting is just to hear that first gobble, like you said. And now to see it through my kids' eyes, it's that much more special.
All right. Is that the story we have the pleasure of hearing?
Oh, I'll walk you through start to finish.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Let's hear it. Start to finish.
Yeah, this is last year's hunt, and it was rainy. And actually, Jake was along with us. We never got to get any good video footage, but we got really good pictures. We went out, it was rainy. It was a rainy morning, so we knew that it was going to be tough. If you've ever hunted birds in the morning when it's raining, man, it can get really, really hard. But we got out to our farm that I've shot a lot of birds on, and got to the spot where we've heard them many times. Heard one bird off in the distance. We kind of knew the area that they were going to be at, but that first gobble, my boys reaction is priceless to me. I'll always have that as a really good memory, taking them out on their first turkey hunt. But we got down, set up. What's funny is the farmer's yard. He has a big yard and he mows it. So it's right next to where these birds were at in a pasture. So you have this mowed grass right up to a tall grass pasture. And we set up the decoy on his mowed grass. It was pretty interesting setup. But they came right out of that roost. They landed in the pasture right next to his yard there. And man, we didn't take long. We made some clucks and some yelps, and those birds were coming in. We actually, right on the edge of the woods where the decoys were at, was about 10 yards at the most. We had I counted about 20 hens that had to pass us first. And when you have 13-year-old boys, if you ever around 13-year-old boys, they're not sitting still very long. So in my mind, I'm like, these birds are gonna bust. We're gonna ruin this hunt real quick because these boys are sitting right next to me out in the open, and I'm worried that they're gonna move. But they were statues. Those hens fed past us one by one, within 10 yards of them. So I could about imagine what they were feeling at that point. And you just look past the line of hens, and there was 2 white heads. And it wasn't long until those birds were in our laps. It took just a few calls, and I think Jake was on the call at that point. I had the mouth read in, but I was on the gun, and those two whiteheads came over the hill. They turned red real quick, and it didn't take long for them to get to the decoy that we have. I don't know what your favorite decoy is. Mine's a Dave Smith. I like the Dave Smith decoys. I use the quarter strut decoy, Jake decoy from them. I think it works really, really well. I've shot a lot of turkeys over that. But man, to watch those 2 gobblers come in at 10 yards, and that's how far they were, is 10 yards. It wasn't very far away at all. And to have those boys see that hunt, and like you said, using a shotgun is one of my favorite ways to hunt these birds. And at 10 yards, took the shot, and it was over. And we got some really great rainy turkey pictures, which are not always the best. If you ever seen a turkey with wet feathers, you know that they're not always the prettiest birds, but man, that's one of my more memorable hunts for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. Rainy makes it difficult for the pictures because the fin or the fan tends to stick together, and you just don't get all those colors to pop, but
right.
It can make for some of the best turkey hunting though.
Yeah, for
clearly,
sure.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's super awesome to just bring kids out, bring youth, bring anybody that's never turkey hunted before, and just get that very first experience. Like you said, seeing their eyes light up on that first gobble, and oh man, just what's going through your mind when you have 30 hens having to walk by you at 10 yards. It's like you can hardly describe that feeling.
Yeah, it's really like you have the opportunity right now because you know what's behind them. That's typically how this goes. You have the opportunity right now either to make or break this hunt, and whether you survive all those eyes that walk by you or not. And like I told you, in my head, it's my 13-year-old boys. Are they going to stay still enough to let these birds walk by and not see them move? Because we all know those hens like to just bust our hunts. Like it happens where they just pick you off and it's over.
Oh, absolutely.
Those hens fed right past, and it didn't take long for those gobblers to be at 10 yards, just rocking and rolling. And the best part about it is they're gobbling, and I like these boys. Jake we were talking after these boys' eyes were as big as softballs. These birds are gobbling at 10 yards away. It's just a different experience, and it's that's a hunt I'll never forget because of that. I've seen a lot of birds. I've shot a lot of birds in my life of turkey hunting, but man, that hunt specifically is one that will always live in my heart as something that's pretty special. So
those core memories, awesome. Yeah.
Yep, building core memories right there.
I love it
for sure.
You gonna have a tag this year?
Yeah, in Minnesota, what's nice is that you pretty much can get over the counter tag now. So it's whether or not you want to go with a bow or with a gun. And we talked about this, Mike. Like my favorite thing to use is a shotgun. You get a nice tight choke. I use Indian Creek turkey choke is what I use. So you get a nice tight pattern with those chokes, and to me, you can run and gun and just really get after these turkeys way more tactfully, and you don't always have to use a blind like you do with a bow. And so there's always the ups and downs, and everybody has their opinion on this. But I love the shotgun portion of it. But yeah, I got a tag that I'll probably use. I think it's a can't remember, it's a 5 or 7 day season, but we get I think it's a 7 day season where you get a week to hunt with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And then once that week's over, I don't think we can hunt until the end of the season again, but I'll get out that first or second week usually. And then I'll let the boys decide if they want to go hunting this year, and we'll figure that time frame out. But
well, after that story, I think you might have them hooked.
yes. Yeah. I asked them both if they wanted to hunt this year, and they absolutely said yes. There was like not even a question. So
there you go. So it's like you have 3 seasons then. So like you pick one of your boys the next week, another boy the next. You'll be all set.
Absolutely. They'll be excited. I'll be just as excited to sit right next to them this time. So
yep. Awesome. Yeah. I'll be hunting Minnesota too. I usually pick the week before it opens up to everybody. So then I can hunt for like 3 weeks straight or whatever. I don't have to have that gap. Yep. That and I got a North Dakota tag, so I'll fill the North Dakota one first, and then I'll. Yeah,
there's a lot of birds in North Dakota too.
There's a couple, so hopefully there's one real nice one with my name on it.
Yeah, I've before kids and before family, I've had the pleasure to hunt turkeys in different states. I've been to Nebraska and shot a Merriam. I have another story that I don't know if we have time right now, but we can talk about a different time. But I got a chance to fly. My uncle flew me to Oregon, which I don't know if you knew that there's Rio Grandes in Oregon.
I did not.
I don't know if you knew that, Mike.
No.
Did you know that? Yeah, they have an area that has some Rio Grandes in it. And my uncle flew me out there. I had a 1 day to get this hunt done to shoot a Rio Grande. And I got it done. It's a long, long story, and it's a really good one, but I got that done. So I have a Merriam, a Rio Grande. I shot obviously my Easterns in Minnesota. I just need to get that Osceola turkey down in Florida.
There you go. Someday. Keep her on the list. So
right.
All right, Charlie. Thank you so much for your time. Love the story. Good luck this year.
Yeah.
I always tell my crew I don't trust a person if I'm going in to buy hunting or fishing gear who doesn't have a little facial hair.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I better work on that. Just kidding. I might not be selling hunting gear either, but yeah.
All right, Ian, thank you so much for joining us today. I love that you're in the
Thanks
full.
for having me.
Yeah, I love that you're in the full camo setup just to be ready, just embrace everything here. So, it could have been in a turkey blind, but that would have
thought about
it. Maybe next time. Okay. Well, so this is going to be a little bit different. So this is going to be a fun one. We're just talking turkey stories and a little bit of turkey calling. So do you have your call with you today?
I got a couple of them. I have my little Woodhaven, little mini red scorpion. That's probably my go-to diaphragm. I got a small pallet, so I got to use the small frames. But yeah, I also have the Dave Halloran Metal Mouth, so my go-to pot style call.
Okay.
Glass over aluminum. So one of my favorite pots to use out in the woods.
Interesting. Why do you like that one? I've never used the Dave Halloran ones before.
Yeah, can you hold that one up again?
Nope.
Can you hold that one up again? I want to see that.
Yep.
Okay.
It is glass over an aluminum soundboard, so I can get pretty loud with it if I need to on a windy day. I'm a duck hunter by heart, so I like making noise. So I make a lot of noise when I'm in the turkey woods, probably more than a conventional turkey hunter, but it usually seems to pan out.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear them.
All right.
So
this hasn't been used since probably last April, so
okay,
probably May.
Talk to us what you're gonna do. What sort of sequence you're planning on doing?
So there's a lot of different styles of turkey hunters. I'm a runner and gunner. I cannot sit still. If you ask anybody that I work with, I got to be moving. So I might sit for 45 minutes or so in the morning. If things don't pan out, I'm getting up, I'm running around. I'm going to try to strike up a conversation with a bird, whether it be with a crow call, owl call. I love personally the fly down cackle. For whatever reason, down in Mondovi, that probably has killed me the most birds over the last decade that I've hunted down there. So a little bit of an unconventional thing to do while you're trying to locate a bird, but I'm fast. So if I get a bird to shot gobble at a fly down cackle, I take a lot of people hunting, 10 seconds or less. I'm typically set up ready to rock. So the fly down cackle is probably one of my favorite locator calls. You talk to a lot of turkey hunters, they say that gives your position away. It works though. If you can be fast, it definitely works. We've killed a lot of birds using this tactic.
Okay,
So
let's hear it.
So usually, if you're familiar with Buffalo County, it's pretty hilly. So we'll walk 100 yards, 200 yards. These birds typically don't shot gobble at a crow call or an owl call. So I'll just kind of show you what I do. So I'll start slow. So just kind of do a fly down cackle and bird fires off. Cool. Panic set up. Hopefully have a conversation with them. When I'm working a bird, it's a lot of clucks and purrs, very soft kind of feeding calls. I'm also a huge fan of doing some scratching. So if I'm behind somebody turkey hunting and I got a bird close that's gobbling, double, triple gobbling, I like getting quiet and I'll just start scratching the leaves underneath me, series of 3s. So I've had a lot of birds close the distance just by simply scratching and ruffling the leaves underneath me.
Okay, very nice.
But gobbling, kill a few birds gobbling with the diaphragm. That's, again, I'm a duck hunter. I like making noise. So I like doing a lot of gobbling too while I'm hunting. So one of my favorite things to do, gobble on a diaphragm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't have to call at all. You got decoys out in the right spot and bird roosted. Don't need to make any noise.
Yep. Give a little yelp and they lock onto that and then she's done.
Yeah. Another somewhat controversial strategy, but Wisconsin has to be one of the best states if you're a turkey hunter to live in because we have so many turkey hunting opportunities. Our season structure, I can buy 20 tags in a year. I mean, we have leftover tag availability. I mean, I think last year I had 12 tags in my pocket. Oh. But we are an amazing state if you like turkey hunting to live in. So my first week, it's week 2 here. It's the last week in April. But then, I mean, I have a lot of diehard turkey hunters here on my crew. Most of the guys will have 8 or more tags for this spring season, and then probably double that for the amount of people they take out. I take a lot of people out and put them on birds, but no, we are an awesome state to live in if you like turkey hunting.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. All right. Well, let's hear your favorite turkey story. What do you got for us?
He laughs.
Okay. Yeah. It's actually, so I grew up, my father got us into bird hunting, grouse hunting, not so much turkey hunting. A good friend of mine in Fall Creek, Ben Grown, really kind of fueled my passion for turkey hunting. A decade ago, I didn't have a lot of opportunity and land to access for turkey hunting, so I'd always go out to Fall Creek and hunt with my good buddy Ben Grown. But I kind of got my oldest brother, so I'm one of 5. So my older brother had never shot a bird up until last year. Finally got him on a bird down in Mondovi last year. But the story I think that stands out the most would be my baby brother, Evan. His first turkey was quite the experience. So we were set up on a field edge looking up kind of this hill onto a good roosting area. And birds firing back to us before first light. I mean, double, triple gobbling. I had my avian X strutter out there with a laydown hen. He'd never shot a bird, so he's pretty excited. I'm thinking he's getting a little antsy that bird was going to fly down and attack the decoys, but it didn't. We heard the bird pitch down. I'm being pretty subtle with my call and talking back and forth with it. It comes out in the corner of this field, a ways away, sees the decoy. For some reason, walks back into the woods, and it continues answering my call. So usually if a bird's pretty fired up, at least down there, they'll pop out in the field and come and attack that strutter. But this bird, like gobbling, didn't want to come into the decoys. And it got quiet, and probably 20 minutes or so had gone by. And I mean, I'm behind my little brother 10 yards or so. And unfortunately, the morning coffee hit. So I whispered to my
We've
brother,
all been there.
Evan, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to go and let nature take its course. So I crawl as quietly as I can behind us, and you probably figured the rest of the story. Nature's happening, and I look up, and about 40 yards away on the hill, there's the strutter staring at me, and I'm just like, oh no. So spooked him. Yep, spooked him. So we sat for probably another hour, and I was like, Evan, let's start running. I mean, we're very lucky. My wife's cousins own a ton of land in Mondovi. So this parcel, I think, is 1,300 acres. We're just super lucky. But we start running and gunning. So like I told you, I'm going 100 yards up in these hills, doing a fly down cackle. And we get on this logging road along a huge ridge, and we get to almost the very top of it. I'm huffing and puffing. I have asthma too. I don't know if I told you that. So I'm huffing and puffing, trying to catch my breath. My little brother's behind me. I do a fly down cackle, and I kid you not, 20 yards up and over this hill, turkey gobbles, and just all out panic mode, trying to rip the lay down avian out of my vest. I get it out of the vest, throw it literally where I'm standing on the logging road. I have my little brother scooch back about, 15 feet off the trail, and we're shoulder to shoulder. I'm like, get your gun up. Bird's already out on the trail about 20 yards away from me. So he couldn't see it. I'm looking at this bird. He could not see it. And it's maybe 20, 30 feet in front of us. I literally grabbed his arm on his gun and pointed it at the bird. Couldn't see it. Bird walks up and over on the backside of this hill. I'm like, it's done. That's our opportunity. I don't think I've ever had this close of a call and not had at least my shooter take a shot. And I'm like, it's all over. I hit a fly down cackle on the diaphragm just as like a Hail Mary. Bird comes right back up, and same thing. He cannot get this bird in his sight. I mean, there's a couple aspen trees in front of us. And finally, he's like, oh, I see it. Kaboom! And yep, folds the thing. But it's just, that's probably one of my most memorable hunts. He got his first bird. I don't get too excited over the size of birds, but this was a big bird. So probably my most memorable turkey hunting experience. Last year, Evan, my little brother, and my older brother, Eric, they had 5th week tags. So they came down to Mondovi to hunt with me, and this was a Saturday, but got them both birds before noon that Saturday. So we got a lot of turkeys down by me. Like I said, if you're a turkey hunter, I mean, right now, Wisconsin's the state that you want to be in to shoot a bunch of birds. So
sounds like it. Boy, that's just a roller coaster of emotions.
Oh, it is. Yep. And I mean, you're a big turkey hunter. We have a tough time going out and roosting birds. I mean, I do it just because I love being out there at sunset. I love hearing birds gobble, but they're not super vocal in Mondovi. Now, you go to Fall Creek, which is 20 miles away. When the train drives by and honks the horn, I mean, there's 100 turkeys gobbling. Down in Mondovi, I don't know if it's pressure or predators or what it is. They're not super vocal. They're there, but they don't like making noise in the trees in the morning like they do some other areas.
Mm-hmm. So do you change your technique then down there?
It has been so long since I've had a fly down hunt, at least in Mondovi. Most of our birds are coming between 9 a.m. and noon. So I think once the dominant birds pitch down, they do their thing with the hens, have a little snack or something in the morning, they start running around and becoming a little more vocal later in the morning. That seems to be how at least my strategy of running and gunning pays off for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, sounds like you got to figure it out anyway. All right. Well, appreciate the call-in, appreciate the story, and best of luck this season. Nice.
We should let you know that when you do your call, we actually
Let's
can't
test it.
Okay.
See if this call works.
Oh.
No.
It's crazy. So the frequency is like too high.
It won't pick it up.
Right. So still do it, and then we'll have you like record it like on your phone or something.
Yeah, basically like we'll give you the recording and then you just do a video and we'll piece it in.
That's good. That means I can like do a couple takes if I mess up.
For sure.
You sure can. Send us your best one.
Perfect. Even better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Conrad Morris, thank you so much for joining us today. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Oh, fantastic. We're talking turkey.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mike
I'm
is in his happy
just
spot.
jacked. I'm in my happy spot. I've had some mountain ops, so I'm highly caffeinated right now. I am fired up and ready to hear some turkey talk.
Absolutely.
So, what's your favorite call to use?
I really like a diaphragm. I've been running the Woodhaven diaphragms the last couple of years. Their jackhammer has kind of been my go-to, but there's a couple other ones I throw in there too. Always carry a slate call just in case it's super windy or something else, but I'm mostly a diaphragm guy.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I really enjoy the diaphragm call too. So, got to have them all in your pocket though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you were using your diaphragm one earlier before we started, and I thought you were just doing that with your mouth.
Oh, that
like-
would have been really impressive.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know you could do something like that.
I used to be able to when I was like
Really?
a kid before my voice changed. I used to be able to do it with my mouth.
Oh,
Not anymore.
okay.
When you mentioned some people can learn to do that.
Yeah, you
That's
can,
crazy.
with a lot of practice, I'm sure you can.
Sure.
But I'll actually use the diaphragm
Yeah.
call. But it's actually kind of fun because, like, I have one in my desk at all times. And then once the spring shows up, I'll just, like, randomly pop one into my mouth and rip some turkey calls in the SCHEELS marketing office.
You get all the weird looks from everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I get a lot of enjoyment about that.
Although it is SCHEELS, so
Yeah,
you
it's
can
like-
always expect something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most people that know me though are like, yeah, that's
It's
probably Mike blowing
Yeah.
on a turkey call again.
Right.
So, all right, let's have you do a sequence for us. Describe what you're doing, and then give her a rip.
Yeah. So I'm going to do like a fly down cackle. That's kind of my favorite thing to do just early in the morning when they're about to fly down, just make them know where you're at. So.
Perfect. That gets them fired up, right?
Sometimes.
That's the goal anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Let's go to turkey stories. What is it? You
Sure.
got a real good turkey story? Actually, I know we've had a little bit of lead in on this. So our spring shooting campaign, you were featured in it. You were in the catalog. I think it's something about like, what is it? 4 birds in 30 minutes or something like that.
It's 4 birds in 4 days. But yeah, a couple of them kind of came a little closer together. So we'll get into that, I'm sure. But yeah, it was a really cool hunt for sure.
Perfect. Let's hear it. Walk us through your adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was back in 2020. So obviously the world was shut down from COVID, and some SCHEELS stores were closed for a couple of weeks. And so my dad and I had the grand idea that we were going to go on a turkey hunting trip. We had turkey hunted a lot together over the years, but we hadn't ever really done like an out-of-state hunt together. So nothing else was really going on, and it was kind of social distancing, or it was supposed to be around people. So we just kind of jumped in the truck, and we went to an area out in western Kansas where we had pheasant hunted back when I was in like middle school, but we hadn't been out there in several years. But we had a kind of a family friend connection that said, hey, I've got some ground out here that you guys are more than welcome to come camp in. And then, you can hunt the farm as well if there's turkeys around, but we kind of figured that would be more of just our camping area, and that we might be able to find some other ground close to that to hunt. So we went out there. So Kansas, if you're not familiar, has an early archery turkey season that starts like 10 days before their shotgun season. So we were going to just hunt. We kind of just went out there thinking we were going to hunt maybe the whole 10 days. We didn't really have anywhere to be or any places to go. So we went out there and set up camp. And that first evening that we were in camp, Dad kind of stayed behind to get a few things finished up. And I went out and did some scouting and picked up permission on a farm a couple miles from there that had some turkeys on it. So we were kind of feeling good about our chances. Meanwhile, while Dad was in camp, he thought that he heard some turkeys right outside of our campsite. But we decided the next morning that we were actually going to hunt the farm that I had found. So we went over there and didn't amount to anything. But that next evening, we're like, well, let's just go sit. There was a green alfalfa field right close to our campsite there, about 200 yards away, that he had thought he'd heard some turkeys in the night before. So we decided to go down there. And sure enough, getting closer to dark, those turkeys kind of filtered through there, and Dad ended up shooting one of them. So the next evening we went back to the same spot, and just like clockwork, I ended up shooting one in the exact same spot as Dad had the night before, which was pretty crazy. But, out there, those turkeys, we learned really fast, are super nomadic. They'll travel several miles in a day from where they fly down. So it just happened to be kind of along their path. They didn't roost anywhere close to there. They were roosting about a mile south of us. But they were kind of coming up in there to spend the day and then going back through there on the way home. So after we kind of put that together, we left those birds alone the next morning again, but we were driving back into camp to go grab a bite to eat for lunch. We both had obviously one tag left in our pocket, because at that time in Kansas, you could still shoot 2 turkeys. We pulled into camp, and that whole flock was right out in that alfalfa field again at like 10 or 11 o'clock the next morning. So we kind of scrambled. They kind of worked off into the trees a little bit, and we ran down there and got set up really fast. And about 45 minutes later, they all came back out into the field. So we obviously hadn't spooked them too much. And the whole flock, there was 5 or 6 toms and a bunch of hens, came right into the decoys. And I always let my dad shoot first, or I usually do anyway, because he shoots a recurve. So I let him shoot the bird first, and then another one kind of stuck around, and I was able to shoot that one. So in 48 hours, just about, we shot 4 turkeys on the 3rd and 4th day of our trip. So it was pretty wild.
And archery too, right?
Yep. And all with archery equipment. Yep.
Oh.
Okay. That is really impressive.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure.
That's crazy. That's really cool that you just like, okay, we got some time. Let's go do a turkey hunt. We don't know everything, but we have a general idea. We'll figure it out, fly by the seat of our pants. And just to drop 4 turkeys in 48 hours, that's got to be a little bit above and beyond anything you could expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a cool experience with your dad too, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's become an annual thing now too. So we've, the last 4 or 5 years have gone back out to the same spot and camped in the same spot. And turkeys haven't been on that particular farm the last couple of years, but they've been in neighboring farms that we've had permission on. So we've had a lot of awesome experiences out there every spring chasing them.
Oh,
This gives me an idea. I have alfalfa in my backyard.
Ooh.
There you go.
I just found myself some. No.
Yeah. I've been trying real hard to get Ashley to jump on the turkey hunting bandwagon. So maybe
you need to try it.
Maybe this is
So
the
he set up
spring.
a whole podcast episode to convince me.
There you go.
Yeah. We're just
It's
going to.
nice. It's warm.
It's exciting.
Spring.
These stories are great. So yeah.
Yeah. It's the best way to get somebody into hunting.
Do you usually go archery hunting then for turkey, or shotgun?
I kind of do it all. So I've been fortunate to be able to travel a lot. So if I'm hunting kind of here in Nebraska or out in Kansas with Dad, I usually archery hunt. But if I'm going other places in other states, usually I'll tote a shotgun around just to up my chances of success a little bit more, for sure.
Are you the same kind of? You'll do both.
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on the season. So like Minnesota, you can do archery and you get it the whole season. Or if you do gun, you have to specify like a seven day window.
Sure.
And then it opens up like the last couple of weeks. So oftentimes turkey is the only animal I'd rather shoot with a gun than with a bow, to be honest with you. There's such a small window of error with the bow, and with the gun, you just point it at the head and let her buck.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely something satisfying about having a shotgun in your hand and rolling one like that. But I just like to extend my season as much as I can. We have an early archery season in Nebraska too that opens almost 3 weeks before our shotgun. So I just like to get out early if I can. So
yeah, if you have the time, archery is a great way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's funny how everyone we talk to has like their eyes light up when you sit with the shotgun. It's just kind of funny.
There's just something satisfying about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a higher level of confidence when you're sitting there with a shotgun in your hand versus a bow or, something else. So.
Oh, absolutely. All right, perfect. Well, thank you for the call-in demonstration and the story.
Absolutely.
And best of luck this turkey season for you.
Yeah, you as well.
Yeah.
What do you have for a call there in front of you?
I went with the old trusty with the slate. And the reason why the slate pot call is because to me, it's the most realistic sounding and the easiest to run. So there's times that when you're turkey hunting, you're not in the best position, right? So the slate is more forgiving than a crystal or a glass, I think. It's a little bit lower in tone, so it's not as loud, which obviously loud is important. That's why I didn't bring it. I love crystal. I use crystal, right? But I think we actually, on our story, we started with crystal and went to slate. And that's the other thing is I bounce around. It's just not one call for anything. I mean, it's the diaphragm calls. I'm a big fan of too. At times, it's one of those deals that, it's if you have enough time to turkey hunt, you can really play around, right?
Oh,
Certain
absolutely.
states, it's one tag, like North Dakota, for example, right? So your one opportunity, you may not want to. You just might want to go with what works for you, right? So for me, I like them all. I really do. Box calls, slate calls, push button calls, whatever. I mean, to get into it too, strikers, there's many different types of strikers, tips of the strikers, the material of the strikers. Typically, when you buy a combo from the store, you just use what comes with it, and that's fine. That works. Typically, these guys have got it figured out already. I do like a laminate striker. That's what this is. It's just a denser. And so it gives it a really good one. Hickory's good, walnut's good. I mean, you got purple heart and whatever. I mean, there's so many different woods out there. For me, I like the hard. It allows me to kind of adjust more. I can get louder with the harder wood on the striker. The walnut and the hickory is nice too, because to me, a hickory or a walnut, maybe more on the walnut side, with a slate, it's just like, that's my jam. Like anything, if I had to pick one turkey call to use for the rest of my life, that's what it would be. And it's just, I like pot. That's what I've always started using, and it's what I still use today. I mean, diaphragms are great. There's enough people out there on social media as well as on YouTube and any of the channels. It's incredible, like what they can do. I'm not that guy. I can do it here, but I can't do it with a diaphragm call. But yeah, so, depending on the scenario too, depends on your calling sequence. I'm sure you guys have gone through that as well. For me, depending on the setup, right? I mean, if we know we got birds right next to us, I'm very calm, and I usually don't do a whole lot of calling until they're on the ground. Versus, for us, when we're going in blind thinking they should be around here, I'm going to try to get shot gobbling, right?
Okay.
Just to figure out where they're at. And for that, it's just I'll see if I can. Do you want me to do this?
I do.
I
That's
do.
what we've been waiting for this entire time. Not all of your crazy turkey nut stuff, buddy.
So, location on the slate call too, or on your pot calls, depends. The higher up you are on the rim, the louder, higher pitch it is. The more center you are, the lower the sound is. And finding that sweet spot is also different on every call. And so this one right here, picked up from the stores, this is the Phelps call. Phelps, Woodhaven, there's a lot of different brands out there that we love. Anything we sell on the product or on the shelf is actually used by our associates, which is great. Yeah, so. So something like that. Sorry, you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah, it's very, very loud.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
All right. Ashley, can you replicate that?
Oh boy. He did teach me how to use it earlier.
Hey, they're not.
There's-
That's the beautiful thing about slate calls is it doesn't take a lot. I mean, it's your placement, the pitch of the deal, the
Yeah.
pressure, right? I mean, a lot of people can make it work.
That's interesting though, like, further up by the rim versus in the middle, so I'm like,
We'll give you
how is
different
this?
tones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and then even the strikers too. I mean, your different woods will cause different pitches, different sounds. But to me, that's what I'm trying to do. Like when I'm first getting in, it doesn't matter if I shouldn't say it does matter. If it's like 3:30 in the morning, I'm not doing that. I'm going to use an owl call. I'm going to use a coyote call or something, but or honk your horn. That works too.
That works pretty
you
effectively.
just have a bag of all these calls.
Yeah,
or
it's
what?
horrible. Yeah,
It's horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah, doing this for 30 years, right? I mean, you just keep
Yeah.
collecting crap. But
All right, I got one calling sequence I want to hear. So you got a bird hung up at 100 yards. What are you going to throw at it to close the distance?
and that is again, scenario specific. I hate to keep saying that, but man, there's just not. It's not like a 6.6 medium action rod. Like it just doesn't do everything.
That's fair.
But in your decoys too, what decoys you're running, if you are running decoys, if they can even see them. Typically for me, and it depends too on subspecies as well. I mean, you can get really aggressive on some of the Oreos and Marians.
I'm just going to try and be as specific as you can so you don't talk and you just call.
Sorry, man.
Okay, this is 10 o'clock
10
in the morning, and you have what you believe to be a boss gobbler at 100 yards.
Yep.
You're running a full strutter decoy.
Yep.
And what else you got in there? You got 2 hens in front of you too.
Now, does he have hens with him?
He does not.
He's lonely.
Yeah, but there has been a hen that's been clucking in the distance just a little bit. He does not know exactly where it's at.
Okay.
But he can see you.
He can see us. And he's not committing with the strutter
He's
decoy.
not committing yet.
Man, that's
what
a
are you
tough
throwing
one.
at him?
Probably trying to get rid of my strutter decoy as easy as I can. Because if he's not committed to your decoy spread seeing a strutter, it means he's probably got his butt kicked or shot at or something.
Okay, so then all of a sudden he's not the boss. Then you've determined that.
Yep.
Okay, he's a little bit more subordinate. Then what are you throwing at him?
For me, I'm always trying to call the women to me
Okay.
because they follow the women, right? I mean, it's
I
nature
get
too, right?
that.
You sound like so I am trying to find who
As
the
a woman
boss.
over here, you did hurt my eardrums.
I'm
but
sorry.
No,
Yeah.
That was not to attract you. That's just to get you angry.
no.
And so essentially, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to get an aggressive response from that bird to commit. So if I can't be in the decoys, which is not always a safe thing, right? I mean, with the strutter decoy, you got reapers, strutters, whatever. If I can't get movement with a motion base or with the wind or a pull string, jerk string, then you got a stationary deal, and you got to get him fired up. And so this is not like, it's 80% of the time works every time type deal or 20% of the time. But for me, it's going to be if I can't get him to shot gobble, then it's calming. Try to be calming. Because if he's not going to be responsive to the aggressiveness, then you just got to invert it, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you could have the Michael Waddell's out there that get stumped by turkeys. It's real. It happens. You just can't call them all in. It's... You can't be like me all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding. No, I fail a lot. But for me, so one of the things I really like is I call it the content hen. And it's I'm not the guy that says oh, this is what this is. You go through duck calling and goose calling, they have naming for everything, right? Same thing with turkeys. But for me, it's a purr and cluck. So it's...
Can you see it, Mike?
I can see that guy just kind of posturing a little bit, fanning
Heard
out,
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then releasing and just slowly walking his way. It's going to take about 20, 30 minutes,
At least,
but he's going to get there.
Yep. And with the calling too, this is, again, usually you're set up, you're comfortable, right? And that's one thing too, I think some people take for granted is you set up, but you got to set up for the shot. Mm-hmm. Right? Just don't set up to be comfortable. You got to set up for in the moment of truth because that Tom's finally committed to you, depending on his direction. If he can see you or see any of your movement, you almost don't want to necessarily be directly behind the decoys, right? Straight in line. Because then, anything you're doing moving, they can see you. So I always like to have the decoys off to the side a little bit, right? But that's how I can get away with it. So set up correctly. Again, as you're doing that, you want to be comfortable with where you're calling at, right? Mm-hmm. So because one thing you'll do is you'll be, in these contorted positions like our story, which we're going to talk about. Yeah, it was awful. But anyway, it was great for you, probably.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I was trying to sit up on this giant log, and it was cramming me in the back. But we made her work.
Oh yeah, I'm just melting into a log pile. But yeah, so anyways, how you do it, it depends because as your angle, right, it may not sound that good. And, if you've got a brand new everything, you want to break it in a little bit, really condition that surface. But, yeah, so it's... And it's amazing how far they can hear. We may not be able to hear them, but they can hear us. It's pretty incredible. So, for me, that's what I'm doing. If he's not committing to that type of decoy spread, in general, what I like to do, and, everybody's got their opinion about reapers and strutters and everything, but I like to run that semi-aggressive jake with a couple hens and then always have a reaper in my hand. Because what I can do is if that Tom's not willing to commit, I can shake that reaper decoy with the fan on or just a straight fan, to see how he responds to it. And typically that's like what you need. Mm-hmm. It's that final thing. And there's other, things you can do in tricks and tactics, but in calling, I mean, you can call too much. Certain species, public land, for me, a lot of stuff I do is on public land for everything. If I get fortunate enough to be able to hunt with Mike, I get to hunt some private ground, but in general, it's public. So at those birds get everything thrown at them.
Yeah. I've been known to use my connections and get on some ground where there's been turkeys that haven't been too terribly pressured.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
Dumb enough to come into my calling.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, let's get to our story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me all about it.
So we did not have a ton of time to hunt, and we mentioned, okay, we should try and do some turkey hunting this year. And then all of a sudden I get a text from Ben at 10 p.m. one night. He's like, are we going to turkey hunt? I'm like, okay. I have 2 days that might work. So I go to my wife and I'm like, okay, how about this Friday? Can I turkey hunt this day? And she's like, we had something going on. And I was like, that's a terrible day. But the next day I had a cornhole tournament it started at noon or 1. So it's well, I'm going to be in town and my turkey spot is 20 minutes away. So I was like, maybe we can make that work. I don't think she has me doing things before it.
Yep.
So it's okay,
No
maybe we can
sales.
turkey hunt. So it's okay, let's do it. So we get out there, pretty much blind. I think it was the first time we'd been to that property that
First time
year.
I'd ever been.
First time
what
he'd
time
ever.
is this? Early morning?
Oh, this is early.
Okay.
So we're getting in well before light.
Super early.
Yes. So get to the spot and I've hunted it before. I shot a turkey the year before on it. Kind of have a layout of the land. There's 2 bigger pieces of woods, and then there's a narrow connecting open area next to the river that's perfect for them to just kind of wander through. And then there's fields on the side. So we set up where I think okay, this is going to be perfect. And we start calling, and what did we hear?
Nothing.
Nothing.
And more nothing.
Nothing. So
you heard each other's calls.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing in the distance, nothing.
Yep.
So, and neither one of us can really sit very long and hear nothing.
Yeah.
So it's okay, well, what's plan B? All right. So you go to this side, I'll go to this side. Or did you go or did you sit?
No, I didn't know the property, so I said I'm sitting here.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yep.
It was all right, I'm going to go to this corner of the property and I'm going to start throwing out some calls and we'll see if something responds. So I grab one decoy and my calls and my gun and I start walking. And I get to the other end of the property. It's, how far was it? 500, 600, 700 yards, something around that range?
For sure.
So
Yep.
yeah, it was a little bit of a jump, but not too crazy far. So I let out a call and I get nothing, and I keep going a little farther and I get nothing, and I get to maybe 200 yards away from the property line where it's going to quit, and I let out another call and I hear a faint gobble. I'm like, okay, there's a turkey.
There's a bird.
I don't know where it is, but it's there. So sit, wait a little bit, call back again, get him to fire back again. And it's man, it sounds like more than one bird. All right. So then I get a hold of Ben. I'm like, okay, let's make a move on these birds. So I'm sitting, just kind of waiting. And then Ben shows up and you can continue the story now.
Yeah. And then we got, did we get to the woodpile yet? It's not really a woodpile, but it's the only habitat we had.
Yeah, it was basically just, I don't know, someone took a chainsaw and had a little bit of brush and stuff on it. And
Yeah, so we'll just say we made it to that woodpile before we first started getting on them. And anyway, I think, we got right to that point, heard that they were across the river. And so we moved closer in because I was walking within the trees. I think I stepped on a branch and I got a shot gobble off it. And so I think I came out of the trees and that's where I saw you. So we got set up and kind of, not in the best position because we couldn't see each other.
Oh.
We couldn't hear each other. We were pretty much both hunting and hoping we were both on the same wave, mental wavelength of making sure we didn't screw anything up. And so we're calling and they're responding back a little bit. Mike's calling, I'm calling, kind of mess with the decoys a little bit, and they come back, do some more calling, and where I think they're going to come from, I reposition the decoys to make sure that they would be getting, because I figured they'd be coming through the trees at us. Instead, they came all the way. They came another 200 yards away from us, essentially.
Yeah. And there was a pretty distinct pause where they did not respond.
Yep.
So we come to find out that they were responding to us and they were on the other side of the river because this is like a river bottom piece.
Yep.
And they were in North Dakota.
Yes.
So
they were in North
we
Dakota.
called them to a different state to shoot them.
Accurate.
So because it was like they'd respond, they respond, and then nothing for like 3 or 4 different calling sequences. Oh, yeah. And then we're like starting to lose hope at this point. It's like, hey man, do they just go off, find another birds, whatever? And then you let out a call, and then all of a sudden it's like, just freaking like, oh, these birds are really close now.
They crossed the river. Yep. Yeah. And that was the deal. I mean, it's one of those things that if you have nothing to lose because you're not like, Mike has a hard stop. Like I don't want to sit there all day and get eaten by mosquitoes.
Yeah. We're like bottom of the 9th.
Yeah. Yep. So very aggressive calling. And certain birds do respond very, very well to that. Some don't. But anyways, those birds did. And all of a sudden looking in front of us, I don't know if Mike saw at the same time, but we saw 2 little beady heads. Like, at the ground level because they're coming up the berm or up the river edge, I should say. And sure enough, man, it just took a little bit of some coaxing, some sweet talking to them. And then when they got closer, one of the decoys, because I had repositioned them like an idiot, thinking they were coming from a different direction, like totally messed them up because they got behind Mike's Reaper decoy that, I don't know, what brain is it? I'm not sure. But it's not finished on the back.
Dude, I don't even know. It's one of those ones that's like wide open in the back.
Yeah.
So it's a Reaper decoy, and we're using it as like a strutting Tom decoy.
Yep.
And he has it pointed pretty much directly west.
Yep.
And these birds came from pretty much the directly south.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, they are not coming out where we thought they were.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. But yeah, you see those 2 heads pop up out of the grass because it was like river bottom, long grass, dirt field.
Yep.
And it's like all of a sudden 2 heads pop. You just see the tops of the heads in the long grass. So I'm like, oh my God. Because we saw the first one right away.
Yep.
And then the second one came a little bit later. It's like, are we really going to double up?
Oh, yeah.
Is this really happening right now?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh.
And it went from like hearing 1 gobble to like, I'm pretty sure there's 2. They're like confirming we have 2 birds, and then the double, and then trying to get a double executed is one thing if we're all sitting together, is 3, 2, 1. And the other time it's, when we can't see each other, because if we would have called, anyway, so we work the birds in, they come in finally, and Mike and I are probably 6-7 yards apart from each other.
Oh, I'd say we were more than that. We were probably like 10.
10. So I mean, not right next to each other, but close enough. But then I had all these broken down limbs, like the wood pile, and it was only probably 2.5, 3 foot tall. So I'm hugging it, trying to hide behind as much as possible. And as they're coming, I'm trying to get my gun positioned to a way that like I can actually shoot. And then I'm hoping and assuming Mike has a clear opportunity to shoot.
Well, that, and hopefully we're shooting different birds.
Oh yeah,
because like we had talked about this.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go 3, 2, 1 and shoot, and you shoot the right one and I'll shoot the left one. But it's like we couldn't really communicate about that when like it was game time.
Right.
So when these birds come out, and like there's one that's like is a pretty big bird, and then the other one was like, that's a dang nice bird too. Like neither one of them are anything to scoff at.
No.
And they go up, and the first one comes to that decoy, and he walks up to it, and then he sees like there's nothing in the back, and it's like, what the heck is this thing?
Yeah.
And he was just like, meh, whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
And then turns and sees the other decoy that was set up like behind Ben. So
On
like
purpose,
there were like 2 full strutters. Like one was way up front and one was in the way back. So they're like, oh, maybe we'll go hang out with that other one. So they pop out and they start walking. And I mean, I didn't know which one to shoot for sure, but I'm like, well, I'll hang on. I'll shoot the one on the right, hopefully. And I was like, I clicked off my safety. I'm like, well, hopefully like when he shoots or when I shoot, he's going to like be ready and shoot the other one. And as I was like getting my finger to the trigger, I hear 3, 2, and I'm like, dude, we are on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it was like 1, boom, and we shot different birds.
Awesome.
And we got them.
Yeah, and I couldn't let him get any closer because I mean it was feet.
Dude, the one was like in my lap.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yep.
It was so cool.
Yeah, and that's when you got your first double beard.
It was my first double bearded turkey.
Yep.
So yeah,
pretty
went
awesome.
up to him. I went to Ben first. I gave him a big old man hug, and I was like, "This is the freaking coolest thing ever!" Oh, high fiving, and then we go over to the birds, and I pick them up, and there's 2 beards. I was like, "That's super cool." First one I'd ever got.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, and it just goes to show, I mean, in the right conditions, you can work them across. Because that's one thing that, people always complain about is that I can't get them to cross this river. I can't get them across a creek or a fence line. And it's real. I've been there. I mean, I've watched a tom walk like a pasture fence line with nothing underneath it and refuse to commit, like, period. So, I mean, it's real. But yeah, no, if you get them angry enough, and especially that late season, because that was the last weekend of the season.
Yeah, she was winding down.
Yeah, there's one more day left of season on that Sunday.
It was a great hunt.
That's awesome.
Do it again this year?
Okay. Yeah, hopefully we have easier luck and less stressful. But that's one thing nice about turkey. I mean, if you have really good property, you get spoiled.
You do.
Right? You don't have to work the birds as hard. I mean, you don't need as many decoys. You don't have to call as well. Unpressured birds essentially as well. And, you get into those situations where you have to earn it a little bit. And I really like that one. So.
All right. Ben, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.